What's up, internet? I am out here with my good friend Jason, and I've been camping for a while now, and I get a lot of questions about what are the best things to bring and what are some must-haves. And so I want to talk about my top 5 favorite things that I like to bring with me when I go camping, and Jason's going to share his as well. So let's just jump right into it and let's go.
What's up, everybody? This is Jason. I've been off-roading for, I don't know, over 15 years. Been camping and overlanding, if you want to call it, for at least 5-6 years. Went through a lot of different gear, went through a lot of different setups, and just kind of wanted to touch base and let you guys learn a little bit from my mistakes, if you will. The number one thing, if you want to get to locations like this, I mean, we're out here in the middle of nowhere. We haven't seen another person since we've been here. Beautiful, quiet out here. If you want to get to locations like this, you need a vehicle that is going to get you there and get you there safely. And the number one thing on any vehicle, I don't care if it's a Toyota, Jeep, whatever, is tires. Tires are essential. You can't come out here with street tires, can't come out here even with all-weather tires. You're gonna need at least a good all-terrain tire to come out here. And you know, it's just punctures from rocks, sticks, debris, whatever. These kind of tires are built tough. They're gonna protect you from that kind of stuff. And I feel like it's the number one mod that you should do if you wanna get out here. If you have street tires on your vehicle, switch them out. Don't come out here in street tires, you'll regret it. The thing is, with all-terrain tires and mud terrain tires, which is another tire that you could use out here, is they're built really tough. They're built with these heavy-duty sidewalls, because that's where you're gonna get most of your punctures. You're not gonna get a puncture up here, most likely, because the tread up here is really thick. You're gonna get your punctures on the side of the tire. So if you have a tire with a good sidewall, good traction on the sidewall, good lugs, that's gonna protect you from side punctures, and that will definitely save you out here.
The first thing on my list is a sleeping bag. Now, this will vary depending what time of the year you're camping. I like to camp in the cold, so I have a winter grade sleeping bag. A sleeping bag is a pretty basic item, but it's unique to the person. Obviously, if you're sleeping with kids or other people, you can get larger ones. This is an Amazon special. It's called My Arctic Gear, but it has an actual heater inside, and it charges up with a battery pack. So super convenient for winter camping. Highly recommended that you get a sleeping bag that you enjoy and that you sleep well in, because what's the point of camping if you can't get a good night's rest?
The next essential thing I would say is a winch. Now, some of you people might say that's a little extreme. What the hell do I need a winch for? But let me tell you, having a winch has saved me from having to call a recovery team to come out and get me more than once. And even if it saves you once, it's paid for itself, because that's how much a recovery is going to cost you. Especially if you're doing a lot of snow wheeling or a lot of sand wheeling. The chances of you getting stuck is pretty high, and having a winch and being able to, even if your buddy doesn't have a winch, you can winch off of him at least, or winch off of a tree, whatever. But in my opinion, the next most important thing to have on your vehicle is a winch, and make sure you get a synthetic line. Those old steel cables, they're dangerous, they kink easy, they get bars on them, cut your hand on them. It's a little bit more expensive to get the synthetic line, but it's well worth it.
My next item that I want to recommend is lighting. You know, depending on what you're doing, you're gonna need some light. And I have 3 different options here. My main one that I use is a typical headlamp. This is really good for lighting up your space. Obviously, when you're trying to move around through camp, you can have this on your head at all times. I actually like to sleep with this. That way I can always see where I am no matter what, especially in the middle of the night. Or if I hear a noise, I can always open up my tent and look straight out and use this to kind of, you know, flash lights on the animal's eyes so I can see what's going on. So really good to have a headlamp. This is probably the #1 lighting source that I would recommend. The other thing is a portable, like, USB light that you can kind of sit anywhere. This is good for like trying to see under things, maybe to light up a box or something that you're trying to get things out of. always recommend a USB powered one versus a battery one so that you can recharge it easily. And these are pretty inexpensive and you can find them just about anywhere. Also, don't be afraid to go to like Home Depot and get some of the work lights that you find, you know, for working in garages. They work out great too. The other kind of light is a plug-in switch light. And this is just a standard LED bulb with a hook on it. And you can put this, you know, anywhere, hang it on something. I like to plug it into my battery pack and then run it over my cab. And it kind of makes a nice little lighting situation for all of my gear and everything. So lighting, extremely important. You can't see in the dark without it. And here are 3 pretty much great options that you can use to light your camp.
All right, the next thing I want to talk about is an awning. Now, I know a lot of you people are going to probably say, oh, that's too bougie, like who the hell needs that stuff? But honestly, being able to roll up to camp, open this thing up, and have instant protection from the rain, from the sun, all that kind of stuff it's just been, you know, night and day for me. Having to carry around a big Easy Up or something like that takes up the whole inside of your vehicle, and having to set it up and stake it down and all that trouble. Having one of these pull-out awnings is just so nice. And I don't know how many times this thing has come in super handy because pulled up at camp and it's pouring down rain. You can pull this thing out and set it up at camp and not have to worry about getting doused from the rain. And honestly, it's just one of those mods that I have to have on all my vehicles.
The next thing I want to recommend is a water container that can hold a large amount of water. Depending on what you're doing, obviously you're going to need different sizes, but this one is my catch-all for everything. It has 7 gallons of capacity and I can use it for cleaning, also like washing things off. This is not necessarily for my drinking water. I have another container for that, usually just a large water bottle. And I also bring the sprayer that I can fill up with the water so that I can use to clean off any of my gear that gets dirty. Great way if you have kids or dogs that you need to keep clean before they jump back in the tent or the sleeping bag.
All right, another one of my favorite mods for camping and stuff like that is a refrigerator. Now, again, it's another one of those mods. Everybody's gonna be like, oh, that's too bougie. But you know what? Let me tell you, having used coolers for so many years, when I finally made the switch over to a fridge, it's night and day. It's so much better. Your food's not soggy. You always got everything cold. I've got my fridge on a slider. You don't have to do that. It just makes it easier to access your fridge. I can just slide this out, open this up. You know, I got my cold drinks right here. Just being able to have this with me, I'll take this even if I'm going for a day trip, just to throw my sandwiches and stuff in, just because it's so convenient. You don't have to carry ice. You don't have to go through all those troubles. It's just really nice to have. And like I said, once you get a fridge, you'll never go back to coolers again.
The next thing is a waterproof container. This is a Roam case. It's really large and pretty expensive, but you can go anywhere and get a weatherproof, waterproof light container to hold all of your stuff. You want to have one of these so that you can leave it out in the rain or in any conditions and not necessarily have to worry about all of your stuff getting wet. It's a great place to keep food, tools, cooking utilities, also any electronics, seasonings, cups and pots and pans. Definitely get a waterproof or weatherproof container so that you can hold all your camping stuff.
The last one I want to talk about is water. There's a million different ways to carry water. I've tried a bunch of them. This so far is my favorite. I keep talking about bougie setups, but you know what? Having something like this is just so nice. It's the Dometic Water setup and comes with a 3-gallon container and the actual faucet. This faucet is great because you basically, all you need to do is you just take the hose, you plug it into the container, and you got water on tap. And the nice thing about this is that it's got a little light. You can use it at nighttime. And when you're done, unplug the hose, throw that thing in your car, and you're good to go. The nice thing too is that, you know, it's not super big and bulky. It doesn't hold a ton of water, but it's like that good happy medium where it's not too big, not too small. And this really works out great.
The last thing I want to show is a Luggable Loo. Now, this is essentially a paint bucket with a toilet seat on it that you can pick up from, I think, Dick's Sporting Goods. That's the only place I've found it. And it's essentially a toilet. Now, after you eat and drink and have a good time, if you don't have a toilet or you're not near a vault toilet when you're out camping or overlanding, this is a really good solution. It's very funny to talk about this, mostly because when you go, you're gonna need to make sure you have some TP and some dude wipes or something like that. And then also the last thing is just a little hack is some kitty litter. So if you ever use the restroom in here, you can throw some kitty litter and that will kill the smell and absorb all the stuff that you don't want to smell while you're at camp. Definitely a really inexpensive setup. You can always add like a tent to put it in so that you have some privacy. Of course, if you're out in the middle of nowhere, you can just use it as is, but get a Luggable Loo.